And Comrade Ossipon raised his bowed head, beloved of various humble women of these isles, Apollo-like in the sunniness of its bush of hair. The professor had grown restless meantime, and he rose. "Stay," said Ossipon hurriedly. "Here, what do you know of madness and despair?" The professor passed the tip of his tongue on his dry, thin lips and said doctorally, "There are no such things. All passion is lost now. The world is mediocre, limp, without force, and madness and despair are force. A force is a crime in the eyes of the fools, the weak, and the silly who rule the roost. And you are mediocre. Verloc, whose affair the police has managed to smother so nicely, was mediocre. And the police murdered him. He was mediocre. Everybody is mediocre. Madness and despair. Give me that for a lever and I'll move the world. Ossipon, you have my cordial scorn, and you are incapable of conceiving even what the fat-fed citizen would call a crime. You have no force." He paused, smiling sardonically under the fierce glitter of his thick glasses. "And let me tell you that this little legacy that say you've come into has not improved your intelligence. You sit at your beer like a dummy. Goodbye." "Will you have it?" said Ossipon, looking up with an idiotic grin. "Have what?" "The legacy, all of it." The incorruptible professor only smiled. His clothes were all but falling off him, his boots, shapeless with repairs, heavy like lead, let water in at every step. He said, "I will send you by and by a small bill for certain chemicals, which I shall order tomorrow. I need them badly. Understood, eh?" Ossipon lowered his head slowly. He was alone. An impenetrable mystery. It seemed to him that suspended in the air before him he saw his own brain pulsating to the rhythm of an impenetrable mystery. It was deceased, clearly. This act of madness and despair. The mechanical piano near the door played for a vast cheekily, then fell silent all at once, as if grown grumpy. Comrade Ossipon, nicknamed the Doctor, went out on the Salinas beer hall. At the door he hesitated, blinking in not too splendid sunlight, and the paper with the report of the suicide of a lady was in his pocket. His heart was beating against it. The suicide of a lady, this act of madness and despair. He walked along the street without looking where he put his feet, and he walked in a direction which would not bring him to the place of appointment with another lady, an elderly nursery governess, putting her trust in an Apollo like ambrosial head. He was walking away from it. He could face no woman, and it was ruin. He could neither think, work, sleep, nor eat, but he was beginning to drink with pleasure, with anticipation, with hope. It was ruin. His revolutionary career, sustained by the sentiment and trustfulness of many women, was menaced by an impenetrable mystery, the mystery of a human brain pulsating wrongfully to the rhythm of journalistic phrases. Will hang forever over this act. It was inclining towards the gutter of madness or despair. "I am seriously ill," he muttered to himself with scientific insight. Already his robust form, with an embassy's Secret Service money, inherited from Mr. Verloc, in his pockets, was marching in the gutter as if in training for the task of an inevitable future. Already he bowed his broad shoulders, his head of ambrosial locks as if ready to receive the leather yoke of the sandwich board. As on that night, more than a week ago, Comrade Ossipon walked without looking where he put his feet, feeling no fatigue, feeling nothing, seeing nothing, hearing not a sound. An impenetrable mystery. He walked disregarded, this act of madness or despair. And the incorruptible professor walked too, averting his eyes from the odious multitude of mankind. He had no future. He disdained it. He was a force. His thoughts caressed the images of ruin and destruction. And he walked frail, insignificant, shabby, miserable. and terrible in the simplicity of his idea, calling madness and despair to the regeneration of the world. Nobody looked at him. He passed on unsuspected and deadly, like a pest in a street full of men.